Diddy claimed that somebody held a knife to his throat. He woke up and this guy basically had him and he had the knife, and Diddy was at this person's mercy. Now, it's unclear what exactly happened from there. Was there a guard that came in? Did Diddy somehow fight this person off? Well, it seems unlikely that happened. Or did the person just leave? Bottom line, this guy, at least according to people close to Diddy and Diddy himself, could have hurt him badly or even taken his life.
Sean Diddy Combs was supposed to walk out of prison in May 2028, but the government just changed his release date to June 4th. And the reason is far more disturbing than anyone realized. We're not talking about a scheduling mishap or bureaucratic red tape. Federal Bureau of Prisons records don't lie. Diddy's sentence was extended after not one, but multiple rule violations, including a three-way call prison officials flagged as suspicious. It all happened in early November, a moment so consequential that the Bureau itself updated his release profile, quietly but unmistakably. His team scrambled to frame it as business as usual, saying it was just a routine legal call, nothing improper. But then the documents surfaced. The FBI summary showed the call wasn't legal privilege at all, but an unauthorized back channel, wired to voices who weren't supposed to be on the line. If you're wondering why this matters, it's because in the federal system, even minor rule breaking can mean weeks or months tacked onto a sentence. That's the official record. But behind the scenes, we've heard a very different version. One that points to drinking, bribery, and a high-wire campaign to bend incarceration to his will.
And Freed were in the unit that was one floor above mine. So in terms of like the setting, it's a fairly decent chance that the room I'm describing is similar to where Diddy is. Yeah.
This is the same man who wrote a formal letter to the judge last October, allegedly broken to his core, asking for mercy because he'd lost his way. Correctional sources at FCI Fort Dix tell us what's actually going on inside is nothing like his public plea for leniency. Far from a portrait of remorse, Diddy was caught drinking a homemade concoction in his very first week. Soda, sugar, apples, left to ferment in his cell for almost 2 weeks. We've been told that unit supervisors considered moving him to lockdown, but decided instead to keep him in place, hoping the issue would quiet down. That is, until the phone call incident hit the radar days later. Here's where perception and reality split. Diddy's handlers brushed off every rumor, urging the public and press to give him the benefit of the doubt. But the people actually inside say this was no isolated screw-up. They hint at a pattern, small infractions that look accidental in passing, but coordinated in sequence. Officially, Diddy's team denies any wrongdoing. They insist he's focused on personal growth, working in the chapel library, avoiding conflict, and sticking to the substance treatment program. But the staff and a handful of industry insiders say otherwise. According to those we've spoken with, there's talk of unauthorized communications beyond the flagged call. Messages exchanged under the noses of correctional officers. Attempts to work his conditions from the inside. Some even claim, off the record, that Diddy is leveraging his remaining power to access comforts and favors most inmates only dream of. Every time a new incident surfaces, his attorneys slam it all as rumor or fake news. They say the coverage is exaggerated, that Diddy is a model inmate by Bureau standards. The trouble is, their explanations are unraveling almost as quickly as new reports come in. The prison's own logs confirm at least 2 major violations since October: drinking and phone misuse, sufficient to formally delay his release. The contradiction grows. On one hand, a defense team building his image as humbled father and reformed mogul, and on the other, a sequence of busts and disciplinary flags building inside the correctional file.
He did a whole lot to a whole lot of people, and now he's paying for it. So all these cats, I guess y'all get y'all visitation rights. Some of y'all can get y'all conjugal visits right with them. I don't give.
What makes this more than a story about a famous inmate acting up is the scale and context hovering over every detail. Diddy's original 50-month sentence was already a dramatic break from the 11 years prosecutors wanted. The government had painted a picture of an ongoing conspiracy stretching back more than a decade. Private gatherings arranged through layers of staff and intermediaries, 2 ex-partners, Cassie Ventura and a woman under the name Jane, brought into what prosecutors called a pattern of illegal behavior. The headlines in July made waves for how much he avoided. A racketeering acquittal here, a not guilty on trafficking there. But the conviction still landed him on 2 counts of transporting individuals for intimate purposes. Each carried up to 10 years. The final sentence, less than half the government's demand, sent its own kind of message. But that courtroom result came with a warning, too. Judges can always revisit release if defendants breach the rules. And as of November, that's what just happened. We can't ignore how these prison missteps connect to the bigger legal storm still circling. Diddy is not facing a clean slate. he's still staring down more than 100 lawsuits, many led by lawyer Tony Busby, each one a loaded trap for further liability. These accusers track his every movement, waiting for any sign he's not taking punishment seriously. Each time a new incident leaks, every complainant and attorney has another argument to throw at upcoming civil hearings. Look at this pattern. Look at the disregard. It's not a mystery why every misstep inside Fort Dix sends aftershocks beyond the walls. This is about more than compliance. Every rule broken is fuel for a larger war over who controls the public story. And thanks to press leaks, social media theorists, and the obsessive eye of industry observers, Diddy's every move is dissected for hidden intent.
Interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence.
Because here's the real question. Are these violations just reckless mistakes, small rebellions by a disgraced celebrity chafing at limits? Or is Diddy using his time inside as another act in the constant battle to manage his legacy? Insiders with knowledge of life at Fort Dix suggest it's not always clear where luck ends and influence begins. We keep circling back to the timing, each infraction surfacing just as the next round of legal challenges gets underway. Each public denial from his team quickly met by another page in the Bureau's official file. Behind every headline, there's a contest of narratives. Diddy's version as the misunderstood, self-reforming superstar, and the government's version, in which, even behind bars, the rules can bend for those with enough money, enough contacts, and the right playbook. But the prison walls can't hide everything. And what's happening behind the scenes right now could change everything. Diddy's prison violations aren't just a footnote, they're a bombshell. Because if he's breaking rules now, what was he doing before he got locked up? We can't look at these incidents as isolated slip-ups, not when the pattern stretches all the way back to the courtroom, where he escaped the most severe racketeering convictions, but was still found responsible for orchestrating travel linked to private encounters. Remember, Cassie Ventura took the stand to recount years of intimidation and controlling behavior, only to have Diddy's camp dismiss her sworn statements as made-up stories. That's the playbook we keep seeing. In public, it's always deflection. In the documents, in the whispers passing between attorneys, it's a list of people who say they've been threatened or have signed agreements to stay silent.
I'm sorry, I'm just I'm in this moment right now. This is crazy. Sorry. People don't really know how much what it does to you when something that you love is taken from you and thrown away like it don't even matter, and then they move on with their lives and you're stuck. You're stuck during those years. You're still stuck 21 years later.
That trail is longer than anyone realizes. We remember the trial's closing weeks, where former partners described not just private gatherings and physical aggression, but a culture built on loyalty and secrets. Ventura's account wasn't the only one. Jane described gifts, financial control, and relentless pressure behind closed doors. Their words, years apart, painted a portrait of a man surrounded by yes men and protected by a sprawling operation. Diddy never admitted fault. In fact, every new claim drew an immediate response from his attorneys, who called the lawsuits clear attempts to garner publicity. But we've noticed this strategy is under more strain than ever.
If anyone, I'm happy to go. So we think that's just absolutely inconsistent with the jury's verdict. I mean, the jury's verdict was resoundingly clear. There was no trafficking, there was no racketeering, everything was consensual, everything was adult, which is why he was convicted only of the offense. What we feel happened today was that the judge acted as a 13th juror, one that we did not choose, and that he second-guessed the jury's.
His legal team's appeal is their last card. We see the stakes shifting with each violation inside Fort Dix. For every new infraction, judges are handed another reason to deny residency or toss out an appeal as meritless. Why risk so much for homemade brews and unauthorized calls? People who've dealt with celebrity inmates tell us it isn't about comfort or boredom. It's about staying woke in the power game, keeping a grip on respect, on networks, on influence. Diddy's business interests are still being managed. Old associates are still loyal. He's known for turning even setbacks into brand fuel. And rumor has it that several connected figures are working overtime to keep his projects moving while he's out of sight. While we're tracking every move Diddy makes from inside Fort Dix, something even more complicated is unfolding on the outside. The machinery of his financial empire has not come to a halt. Bad Boy Records, his cornerstone label, continues to earn royalties from a catalog that still tops streaming charts, and his Spirits partnerships, including lucrative branding deals with Ciroc, remain active thanks to long-standing contractual obligations. Insiders from the business side say money keeps flowing through shell companies and old trusts. But with Diddy's name now radioactive, the true story is about who, if anyone, still dares to pull the levers where he once held the keys.
The lawsuit specifically challenges allegations suggesting that Mr. Combs and his involvement in the 2018 of his former partner Kim Porter, whose passing was officially attributed to natural causes by the Los Angeles County Coroner.
This is where the strategy grows murky and the stakes get higher. With over 100 lawsuits piling up and a swelling roster of accusers demanding their day in court, Diddy's legal advisors are reportedly urging a quiet dismantling of interconnected holdings. Financial records show a flurry of asset transfers in the months leading to his conviction, prompting speculation that trusted lieutenants are moving value out of reach before creditors and courts can freeze them. The laws are complicated, but the implication is clear. Every dollar shifted is one more line of defense for a mogul in retreat. Yet even among close associates, there's confusion, distrust, and talk of shifting alliances. Some on Diddy's business teams are described as loyal to the end, acting on his coded instructions funneled through lawyers and intermediaries. Others, facing subpoenas and public backlash, may be looking for ways out, hoping to save themselves as investigations widen. The power dynamic is unstable. Rumors reach us that financial managers in LA and Miami are arguing over next steps, while those in charge of Bad Boy's daily operations quietly question who will sign off on the big deals going forward. As much as legal risks dominate the headlines, the deeper tension is about reputation and market value. Major brands partnered with Diddy are watching every press update, quietly recalculating their exposure and contingency plans. One prominent beverage distributor reportedly launched a behind-the-scenes audit of their contractual ties, weighing whether the negative headlines have already done irreparable harm. In entertainment and nightlife, once coveted Diddy events and products are being pushed off calendars in favor of safer, controversy-free ventures.
To be honest with you, this is going to be a great PR thing for Trump. So how do things get leaked? They get leaked when people want you to know what might be happening. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, at the same time as this news came, like literally right before this news broke, there was a notice filed by Diddy's attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, who is in charge of his appeal. And they basically just put the court on notice that in 4 to 6 weeks, they're going to be appealing this.
Against this backdrop, we hear whispers that Diddy's recent prison incidents might serve a purpose beyond momentary rebellion. Longtime observers speculate that the non-compliance isn't about boredom or impulsiveness. It's a gambit meant to distract, to keep the media's eye on small dramas, while major financial moves happen in the shadows. His rivals and allies alike are left guessing whether the next headline is a smokescreen designed to keep everyone looking in the wrong direction. What's clear is that as money changes hands and legacy brands face existential threats, the myth of Diddy's invulnerability is fading. Control is slipping. And in a world built on perception and profit, every shakeup in management or endorsement drop echoes through an ecosystem he once dominated with a phone call. The fight is no longer just for legal vindication or early release. It's about whether the empire can survive without its architect actually calling the shots.
So it's just another form to silence a man, to humble a person. You know how sometimes you gotta humble somebody?
You're right.
Yeah, I think he's being humbled right now. Which it took a long time. It takes a long time to humble an arrogant person.
When we talk to people familiar with the world of high-profile inmates, they say this kind of rule-breaking isn't random, especially not with someone used to working a room or reading an angle. They point to a pattern of controlled defiance, calculated oppositional behavior. With Diddy, the moves seem mapped out in advance. Violate one rule there, push another here, test the boundaries, then bring in the legal team to explain it all away. It's not just about maintaining an image of independence, it's about sending a message. The rules bend when he wants them to. Accusers watch from outside, seeing every brush with discipline as one more piece of evidence that his remorse is manufactured. The cycle continues. Denial, incident, rebuttal, legal maneuver. Even those who once protected his public image seem exhausted by the rotation. Some of the most intriguing speculation from insiders isn't focused on Diddy's legal future, but on the inner workings of his current influence network. We've heard repeatedly from those in the music business that behind every public rebuttal, there's real maneuvering. Money funneled through business entities, favors traded, back channels activated. Diddy is still credited with having the best black book in show business, and there are suggestions that old industry hands are quietly negotiating endorsement rescues, settlement deals, even future tour concepts if he lands a reduced sentence. Attorneys representing his accusers point to these relationships as proof that accountability hasn't stuck yet. Each time new court filings are made, Expect another round of leaks and headline-making rumors, all feeding into a cycle that keeps Diddy's name in motion, never quite out of reach.
Speaking of Kim Porter, because you knew Kim Porter, is it true that Diddy broke her nose?
Bust her nose, man. You know, but it was all, insecurities. Anytime a man would go out his way to wiretap someone's phone or put taps in their homes just to monitor their conversation, that's a sign of insanity. So when you see someone doing that, you can imagine.
Let's not forget the psychological angle that legal and behavioral experts stress. The big picture impact of defiance from the inside. For most, time in federal correctional facilities is meant to strip away privilege and level the playing field. For celebrities like Diddy, it often creates a stage for even more complex performances. One forensic psychiatrist we consulted says power-driven defendants use small violations almost like signals, a way to keep inner circles loyal and enemies on edge. But what makes Diddy's approach unique is a sense of timing. He challenges the system precisely when his legal future hangs in the balance, almost daring the Bureau or his adversaries to catch up. The day after every infraction, his PR operation appears in overdrive. Spokespersons issue reassurances. He is taking sobriety and self-discipline seriously. Or, the rumors are irresponsible, but every pushback is followed by more details surfacing. Penal code citations, unit transfer threats, new filings attached to the civil cases. We can't ignore that the consequences go far beyond one man's sentence. Each incident behind bars reverberates through the courts, through social media, through the boardrooms of labels and companies tied to Diddy's sprawling legacy. What happens when these legal dominoes start falling at the same time? That's the question lobbyists, business partners, and the legal teams are working to game out. In conversations with entertainment lawyers, the consensus is that as long as Diddy can keep sowing confusion, his leverage survives, and that's what frightens the people who want this chapter closed for good. The thought that he might be running his empire from behind a locked door, using coded messages and legal loopholes, unsettles even veteran observers.
Are you concerned that Sean Diddy Combs could be assaulted, violently assaulted? Is that a thing? Because based on what was said in court, it feels like a thing.
And every day his release date remains uncertain, the public's interest sharpens. Accusers worry about retribution, critics warn about influence run amok, and fans scratch their heads, wondering what's real and what's performance. The fact remains, no other music figure of this generation has faced this exact storm. Found not guilty on some of the gravest conspiracy charges, then hamstrung by enough violations to jeopardize early release on lesser counts. For all the hand-wringing by spokespeople, for all the carefully crafted apologies and media strategies, we keep landing in the same place, a figure who refuses to meet the system on its terms, even as the stakes climb higher with each passing month. So what happens if Diddy walks out in June 2028, both chastened and emboldened? Will he try to rebuild his image with another carefully choreographed comeback? Or will the lawsuits, and the accusers now emboldened by his visible defiance, finally lock him out of the spotlight for good? We're closer to answers than ever before, but the story is still wide open. As the gates stay closed on Fort Dix, the questions grow louder every day. Are we watching the playbook of a fallen mogul? Or the start of a throne's return? Leave your take in the comments below. Do you think Diddy's still the power behind the curtain? Or is the empire crumbling for good? Until next time, keep your eyes open and your rumors ready. Because in the world of celebrity justice, nothing stays hidden forever.